Hi there, it's Kathleen here again, and today I have another mini album for you, and I'm quickly going to show you to make it, and then afterwards I will show you a quick flip through of the finished mini album. So the idea of this album was to create an envelope style album to have some kind of best of 2018 collection. So what I need is an envelope for each month, so I can put in the most important dates and events, and then also on the outside I will put a photo, one that spoke to me for each month. And I will quickly show you how to create one of those envelopes. I'm using the 123 punch board by We Are Memory Keepers, and I am creating envelopes to fit the card size of 4 by 5 inches. So I need a square piece of pattern paper that measures 7 5/8 of an inch. So here I cut 2 of those pattern papers to the size. All of the other envelopes are already done because it's the same thing over and over again. So if you know how to make one, you know how to make the rest of them. So as I said, I'm using the 123 punch board, but if you have the envelope punch board, it's basically the same. Or you could also look up a template or a tutorial for how to create an envelope without any kind of punch board. That's also possible, or if you have a scoreboard, for example, that would work as well. But I really love how easy it is to make it with this kind of punch board, and it also enables you to create boxes or bows. So yeah, I really like it. So as I said, I already made some of the envelopes. In total I will need 14 because I am planning to use or to also have 2 envelopes that will hold a card for plans and wishes for the next year that me and my husband can fill in. So if you only need an envelope for each month, you would need 13 because obviously you also need one for the cover. Or at least I'm creating the cover from an envelope as well. So you can see here that the envelope that I have to my left is the one that I'm using for my cover. So this one you will place with the flap to your right. So what will be the cover is facing bottom. And then you will put in the next envelope like this. So you fold over the flap so that the same pattern is visible on in the envelope to your left or to the left, and then also on the right side. I hope I'm explaining it well, but you can also see it here in the video how I'm doing it. And the great thing is, because you will only see one side of each paper, you can make use of your single-sided papers from the paper pads. When you are happy with the order of the envelopes, you will now need to adhere them together. So you will need to put adhesive on the back of the flap of each envelope, and then slide this envelope into the one on the left, and make sure to slide it in completely before you stick it down, because especially when working with double-sided adhesive, once you stuck it down it's really hard to move it around. So make sure that you have it positioned correctly before pressing it down. So here you can see it again where I'm putting the adhesive and how the envelopes are attached together, in case the first time was too quick. And then making sure that the crease lines line up, and then I'm sticking it down. And this is actually what you will repeat with all of the envelopes. So the only difference is for the cover. So the cover we placed with the flap to the right, and then for all of the other envelopes we just adhere them to the one on the left. So you can see here what I'm talking about. And then this envelope here will be the back side of my mini album. So you can see that this time I'm turning the envelope. Normally, with all of the others, I would put adhesive on the side with those red horses. But this time, because as I said, this will be my back side of the mini album, I'm putting adhesive on the same pattern as I have on the outside of the envelope. I hope that I'm not explaining it, you know, it's not too confusing, but in any case you can also refer to the video and what I'm showing you. So what we do now with the flap of our cover, you will score it. It depends a bit on how many envelopes you used, on how far or where you will put the score line. For my mini album, I think I made a score line at about an inch. I first made it at about an inch and a quarter, but then realized that this was a bit too much. You will see in a second. So I'm folding it over, and now if I adhered it like this, you can see that it wouldn't line up nicely. So I'm scoring it again, this time a little bit less than an inch. But as I said, this depends on how many envelopes you use. So if you use more, you might need a wider spine, or if you use less, obviously a thinner spine. So now it lines up nicely, and now I can put adhesive again on this triangle part of the flap, so not on the spine itself, because if you stick the spine to the backs of those envelopes, your album won't fold up nicely and won't lay down flat, or yeah. So make sure to only put adhesive on this triangle part, as I'm doing it here. And now I'm pressing it down, lining up the score line of the flap with the back side of the envelope. And then the base of the mini album is done. And now next thing I'm going to do is find a way how I'm going to keep this mini album closed. So what I'm doing is I picked out a brad that I liked that fit the cover, and I'm going to adhere this brad to the cover of my mini album and then tie a string around it to then tie this string around the mini album to keep it closed. Had I known that I would use the brad to close the mini album, I would have done this before putting this envelope together, because now I have to, you know, stick this brad through the whole envelope, so through all layers of the envelope, so you will see the back of the brad on the inside. This is what I'm talking about. So had I known that I would do this, I would have adhered the brad to the unfolded envelope, so to say. But it's going to work anyway, so I will just have to cut the card that I'm going to put in this envelope a little bit thinner, because the brad is in the way to slide it in the whole, you know, the whole way. I feel like I'm totally not making sense, or, you know, being completely confusing, so I apologize, but it's so much harder to explain than actually showing it, because actually it's a really simple mini album. So you can see here, this is what the finished cover of my mini album looks like. I also added some embellishments, a flower ephemera from the Flourish collection, then this 2018 with the thickers from the Willow Lane collection, and then also those book corners in gold that I just had in my stash, and that I think add a nice touch to this album. So this is my finished album. You can see here that I slid in a card for each month on the left side, and then on the right side I have a photo for each month that either represented the most important event or maybe summed up the whole feel of this month, something like that. And then I just added a few embellishments here and there. I didn't want to overdo it because the patterns are already quite busy in this album, so I just, you know, just a few things here and there. And I also made sure to include either the name or the number for each month on each page. So here I didn't as is, because it's actually a screenshot from a blog post, but in the blog post title it tells you the date. So I know that this was for July, and then here I have August, here is the number 9 for September, and so on. And yeah, I used my typewriter to add the journaling, because first of all I am able to add much more text to a small card like this with the typewriter, and it also looks a bit more cohesive because I don't really like my handwriting, and it just gives a nice clean look, I think. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I tried my best to either explain or show how it's done. And here you can see the last page. So this was for plans and wishes. One side will be for my husband, one side is for me. And that is it. So if you only want the envelopes for each month, you will obviously need one envelope less than I did, but you will figure this out yourselves. You can also just adapt this to any other kind of event, for example, a vacation mini album, or you know, whatever you like. So I hope it inspires you, I hope you liked it, and let me know if you have any questions. And then, yeah, I hope you have a great day and to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.